Hello everyone, David here, and this is the Traveler ULE, or ultralight electric guitar, and it is, as the name suggests, very small and very light. It's just 1.36 kilograms, and it is only as big as it needs to be to get a full-size fretboard of 22 frets, some tuning machines, a pickup and a bridge, and then the strings actually get slotted in to the top here, where there's no head, as you can see, and then they wrap around. They get strung across this bizarre bit of felt, I think just to keep them from moving around too much, and then fed into the tuning machines on the back. And I have to say, this guitar is amazingly good for the size and the money. It costs less than £300 here in the UK, and it actually sounds pretty good. I'm quite happy with the tones. Even though it's only got a single bridge pickup, there's no pickup selector, not even volume and tone control, you can actually get some decent sounds out of it. And if you're like me, you've got lots of patches on your Line 6 equipment, then you can still vary the sound quite a lot. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of this guitar. Obviously the main pros are the size and weight, and for me that's really important because I would like to be able to travel to a gig with my main guitar and then all of my equipment, and then just chuck this on as well as my backup guitar and still just be able to travel to a gig on the train but be completely gig ready with all of the equipment I need, my Line 6 HX Stomp with its amp simulators, cables, and I'm ready to go as soon as I get to a venue, as long as there's a PA. That's kind of the main advantage of this, and it's, I think, why anyone would buy it. The cons are many, but there aren't that many deal breakers. Probably the biggest con is it's not as comfortable to play as a full-size electric guitar. Now, I wouldn't really recommend playing this sitting down because it's got such a small body. It tends to just kind of sit very oddly on your lap. You do get this extra attachment, which you can fit in here, and then that makes the body that little bit bigger, and it can kind of sit on your lap a little more. But again, not as comfortable as a full-size guitar because you're missing that bit at the top, which, I kind of rest my arm on, and I think a lot of other guitar players do as well. So what you end up doing is you end up playing it standing up, and then you have to sort of prevent the guitar from moving around too much by gripping onto the fretboard with your left hand while you're also playing it. And because you're concentrating on those two things at once, it does make it a bit harder to play. On my main guitar, the fretboard really feels like it's rock solid, it's not going anywhere, and I feel both more confident to play it, and it feels easier to get to, those high notes, and then come back down for a big chord. It comes with this really nice little case that's just big enough to fit the guitar, which is perfect. And my idea is that I'll be able to take my main guitar, a rucksack with all my equipment, and then just kind of sling this over my shoulder as well. It also has a bit of a weighting problem. It has a tendency to fall down like it's top heavy, and again that means you have to sort of hold it upright with your left hand while you're playing, which is not ideal. It's not great that there's no volume or tone control. Tone I could probably live without, but volume, I like to be able to roll back the volume and get a kind of crunchy tone if I have a distortion patch set, or be able to roll back the volume to 0 in order to completely mute the guitar, either in between songs or for quiet bits of songs. It also has some issues with tuning stability. I find I can tune up the whole guitar and then it'll just kind of drift out of tune. Like, I'll come back later and find it's all sharp. And it can take a while to get it back into tune, and then it can just drift out again. So that's a little bit annoying. But all of these things I can probably live with just for the convenience of taking it as a backup guitar. However, the one thing that I really can't live with is the lack of a volume control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a local guitar shop called Stairway to Kevin, where Kev, the main guy there, is going to take a look at it. I'm going to see if he can fit a volume control into this and make a kind of custom mod, and then see if there's anything else he can do about it while he's there, like anything he can do to improve the tuning, and maybe even replace the pickup. We'll see. I'll sort of leave it up to him. So let's go and see Kev and see what he's got to say about this guitar. Welcome to Denmark Street. This is the home of many cool guitar shops in London, and you can buy new guitars, get your guitar serviced, buy music books, and many, many other things around here. Let's go. Right, so we are rolling, and this is Kev from Stairway to Kevin.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, so you've taken on the job, as it were.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about what you're going to actually do to the guitar?
Right, so David wants to have a volume control on his Traveler guitar. Traveler guitars don't have a lot of space to put a volume control on them. So we have to get a little bit adventurous and a little bit creative about what we're actually going to do. Now, we have the output jack on the back, bridge and post, stopping any kind of movement in there. So that kind of, that removes the top side of the guitar, thankfully. Most folks like to have the volume control somewhere on the bottom, just quicker access with your finger. And I think we'll be able to actually squeeze one in right around here. We have a very, very small 500k pot. Not the smallest I've ever seen. Well done finding that, David. Oh, there we are. And I think having it just somewhere right about here, I know it's the tone control, we're going to use the volume, will be able to fit. So we've got the roller bar on the back, the bar comes a little bit further into here, so we're just missing that. We just keep it away from the side of the guitar there, and actually just out the way of the front. So when you're playing, you're not going to knock into it in front of where you're using it. It is still going to be behind your hand, so no windmill technique. Okay. You might bump into it. Yeah. What we're going to do is take everything off of it and go from the pickup here. I was going to say the lead pickup, the only pickup. We're going to run a small channel from the back through the side here, have an opening right around about here, wire everything up, and then make a little plastic cover to cover up all those details there, so no dust or dirt or anything else is going to get trapped inside. Okay. Yeah, it is a lot longer process than most folks imagine, so it will probably be at least a good few hours before it's in there, but then when it's in there, it's rock and roll time.
Okay, wicked. All right, thanks very much.
No problem. Cheers, David.
So there you go, that's Denmark Street, and I'm pretty pleased he took on the job, actually, because it sounds like quite a lot of work for my little pet project. He did say that changing anything to do with the tuning would be an even bigger job, so we've decided to leave that for now. It's something I can look at in the future. Traveler themselves actually make some locking tuning machines, so I might look at those and weigh up the pros and cons. But for now, for my backup guitar, I think the volume control is really the change that I need. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, so a few weeks have passed. Just got the message from Kev that my guitar is ready for pickup, so let's go and see how he got on and if he was successful doing this mod. Let's go.
Hello?
Hello, it's David. I'm here to pick up.
So, here's your instrument. Now with volume control.
Oh wow, okay, that looks so neat.
So, and of course it's all set up as well.
Okay, brilliant.
One of the coolest things, took me a little while to work it out, but obviously managed to keep it. You can have it with everything.
Okay.
Everything is now there.
Wow, I didn't even think it was possible to get.
I wasn't sure it was either. It's tight.
Okay.
David, it is really tight in there.
Okay.
So we've got, yes. This, one of the reasons I use this knob, I had to kick around, is the positioning of this is just slightly forward. When I used the volume knob, it wasn't quite it was just slightly off from the center, and I thought, okay, we'll get a smaller, less obvious, less cumbersome one anyways.
Okay. Brilliant! Oh, yeah. No, that's exactly what I wanted.
So yes, that is now fully on board, courtesy of your supplied super tiny pot. Yes, the channel is routed in behind here. That's a little plate we made to cover it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yeah, you won't have to worry about bumping any of the wires or anything like that. But I managed to thread the eye of the needle, I guess, and it's sort of, I managed to get that in there and then up and around any of the other components, so nothing else had to move. So yeah, this still engages, everything's out the way there. We haven't got any interference with the pickup or the bridge or anything like that. It's snug, but it worked, and I was happy.
Okay, brilliant. Oh, well, thank you very much. That's fantastic.
Woohoo!
Okay, great. And it won't have affected, like, the sound?
Not at all.
Sort of,
yeah.
Okay, right, great.
Actually, I've adjusted the pickup a little better. The pickup was actually fairly unbalanced before, so now you tend to have a little bit of a more even spread working from the lows to the highs, so everything is now at the same volume. Okay. But yeah, part of the reason doing it this way, it meant that sort of, obviously I don't want to get too close to the bridge or anything like that either, things that might make it unstable. I mean, sound-wise, there isn't any wood on this anyway, so I didn't think, tonally speaking, you were going to go too far. It was about balancing the pickup and making sure the stability was going to remain once we got it through there. But
okay.
Yeah, happy days.
Great.
Woohoo!
So I've had a play with the guitar now, and it does everything I want. The volume control is working great, and Kev did a brilliant job squeezing it in here, and also covering up the work with this like plastic cover that you wouldn't know was not from the manufacturer. He also fixed a problem with the pickup. I was getting a slightly loose connection. So he just went in there and soldered that together, which is good. I was saying I had a little problem with the volume level.
Yeah.
It's coming out very quietly occasionally.
Right, intermittently jumping up and down, you were saying, right? So you'd have the full power and then no power. Turns out, being a humbucker, it's two different coils, and where those coils are joined, there's this green and white wire right here. Now, from what I can see, they've been twisted together, but probably not soldered. So when we do this, full power and no power. So you're basically having one coil or no coil. Sorry, both coils or one coil. Yeah, when we redo all this, it will be getting soldered up, so that problem will disappear.
Okay, the one thing that remains is really to give it a try in the field. So let's take it to a band practice, and I haven't told the band about this project yet, so let's see what they think about it. So, how much weight am I adding to my whole kit? So I'm going to have to hold this up vertically, but I'll try not to lift it or push it down, just to make sure it doesn't fall over. And yeah, just over 1.8 kilograms. Okay, so my first thoughts are, well, it sucks having another thing to carry on my shoulders, but it's certainly way easier than it would be if it was a full-size guitar.
Here's Dave with his super guitar. Small, light, Traveler.
So what do you guys think?
Pan round dramatically in the face, up close shot to John. What does he think?
Well, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Portability-wise,
Yeah.
I thought he might, you know, play cricket with it or something.
Good.
But
Good improv.
It's good. It's good.
Coming to you next, Ben.
It's a guitar. I hope it's loud enough.
It reminds me a little bit of, you know, at the start of Back to the Future, where Marty McFly's got his guitar, that massive guitar. He has a tiny little guitar as well. It's bright yellow, but it's about that size. Then it makes a really loud noise. Reminds me a bit of that.
Okay. Well, hopefully it won't rock as hard as that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so some post-rehearsal thoughts. This was the first time I'd used it in anger, really, like having to play through a whole song, changing patches midway through the song, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Like, everything worked. In a pinch, I can play any one of our songs on the Traveler without too many problems. Things are a little bit different. Like, I've got no 23rd or 24th fret. Could probably live without that. There's no neck pickup. A little bit more of a problem, but again, I can work around it. The thing I really missed was the lack of center pickup. So just being able to blend my bridge pickup and center pickup together on my main guitar lets me just take the harshness off it. And I really like that for some of the like more delicate or cleaner sounds. So that's the thing I missed the most. And also, you know, the stability of my main guitar, the slightly shallower neck, the slightly smoother frets, kind of all of these things add up. So after I'd kind of proved that it was possible, I was very pleased to pick up my Ibanez S series and play the rest of the rehearsal with that. But you know what? If I was going to a full-on gig, I'd really want that backup guitar. And I love that it's so light. I can kind of sling it on my shoulder, and as long as I put it underneath my rucksack, that kind of just locks the strap in place and prevents it falling off my shoulder while I'm walking around, and I still have both hands free. So yeah, very convenient. Very happy that I've got this now, and very happy with the volume control. I definitely use that. I would hate to have to bring another volume pedal or something and add more stuff to my pedal board. So very pleased that it's small and light. So yeah, overall, really great. It's not going to replace my main guitar anytime soon. So there you go, that's my Traveler ULE ultralight electric review. Would I recommend it? Well, certainly not as your first guitar. If you're looking to get into playing, you'd probably be better off getting something like a Fender Strat or an Ibanez. Something with a more traditional kind of weight distribution and feel, so that you can start learning guitar just like every other guitar player. But if you're like me and you're counting every gram, then this is actually incredibly convenient as a backup guitar, or if you are literally going traveling. So you can put it in its little carry bag and fit that inside a suitcase and take it with you. You don't need extra hand luggage on the plane, which is pretty cool. It still has a lot of the same problems I mentioned earlier in the video, like the feeling like it's top heavy, which could actually potentially be fixed if you had a kind of extension of this front guitar strap mount. If this kind of had like an extension bar that came up here, that might help counteract it, so maybe that's another mod in the works. And it's still not as comfortable to play as my main guitar because you're concentrating on gripping it while you're playing it, and that does kind of detract from just being able to concentrate on the music. And also, if you are looking to get a guitar like this that's very small and light and has a volume control, you don't need to mod this one. You could get the Traveler Pro series, which is a little bit more, and gives you the other features of it has a piezo pickup built into its bridge and the ability to switch between that and the electric pickup, which is pretty cool. So that's another option you might want to consider. I do quite like what I've ended up with here though. I have noticed some other like minor issues, like with all of these bits of metal and stuff sticking out, it does occasionally just kind of catch on my clothes while I'm playing, and that's ever so slightly distracting as well, but yeah, not really a big problem. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with what I've ended up with, and this is now my new backup guitar. Obviously, while I'm playing a gig, I'm going to be hoping that my main guitar just keeps working absolutely fine, but in a pinch, I'm prepared to pick this up, and I think that will save the gig, rather than us having to walk off stage because my guitar broke a string. So yeah, well done Traveler, and thank you Kev for doing such a good job on the mod. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd like to know whether you reckon this is a worthwhile mod, if you think it sounds any good, and if you're thinking of picking one up for yourself. Okay, I hope this video was useful. If so, leave me a like down below, and you can help me out by subscribing to my channel as well. Okay, see you next time.